Hello everybody and welcome to another video here at Stage of the Six Maths. Today I will be attempting to graph this polynomial function here. We have y is equal to 1 over 4x to the 4 minus 9 over 2x squared. This is a polynomial function with our highest degree here being 4, x to the 4. So if we remember from our functions from previous years, we know that when we have an x to the power 4, we have this general shape right here, which is kind of like a W shape. Okay, so, and we have a positive a value here, which means it's going to be concave up, right? It's going to be facing upwards, not flipped the other way. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at here is we're going to look at our intercepts. A little bit tricky here for the intercepts, but what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set y equal to 0 here. So if we set y equal to 0, we have 1 over 4 x to the 4, minus 9 over 2x squared. Okay, so from here we're going to factor an x squared. We're also going to factor a 1 over 4. Okay, so here, 9 over 2 actually is going to turn into an 18 over 4. Oh my gosh, that's bad. So we're going to go 18 over 4, okay? We're going to take out a 1 over 4 from there, and that's just going to be, we're going to be left with the 18 on top, okay? So, rewriting this up here, we have 0 is equal to 1 over 4. We're factoring out the x squared as well. Then we have x squared on the inside minus 18, okay? Now, we have some zeros that we can clearly see over here. When x is equal to 0, this whole thing is going to be equal to 0, and now we have to try and factor this part over here. Well, to factor this part over here, it is a difference of squares, but not a very nice difference of squares. Okay, so we have to actually write this down over here as x minus root 18 and x plus square root of 18. Okay, and the square root of 18 can actually be written down as this is square root of 9 multiplied by the square root of 2, which is actually 3 root 2. Okay, so we have positive and negative 3 root 2. Okay, negative 3 root 2 and positive 3 root 2. These are our intercepts over here. So I'm going to write those points up here. We have point 0, 0. We have point negative 3 root 2, 0. And we have positive 3 root 2 and 0. Those are the intercepts up there. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to be doing our intervals of increase and decrease. In order to do that, sorry, let me just erase this right here. We need our first derivative, right? Bringing the 4 down, 4 over 4 is going to cancel out, so we're going to have x cubed minus, bringing the 2 down, 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1, so that's going to cancel out as well, so we have 9x, okay? Setting that equal to 0, we're going to factor out an x, and we're going to have x squared minus 9. This time we have a very nice difference of squares over here. We're going to have x minus 3 and x plus 3. So our x values are going to be 0, negative 3, positive 3. If we draw our little interval line here, we have 0, negative 3, positive 3. And we want to plug in values to the left and right of these intervals to see whether we are going to be increasing or decreasing. That's how we're going to find our intervals here, okay? So we're going to use this version right here. We're going to plug in negative 4, right? So this is going to be a negative number. Negative 4 minus 3 is going to be negative. Negative 4 plus 3 is also going to be negative. So a negative times another negative is going to give us negative. Okay, so we're starting with an interval of decrease. Here we have be in between negative 3 and 0, so we're going to plug in negative 1. So here we have negative. Negative 1 minus 3 is also going to be a negative. Negative 1 plus 3 is going to be positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. Multiplied by a positive is going to give us another positive. Okay, now we're going to plug in 1. That's a positive. 1 minus 3 is going to be negative, and this is going to be positive. So positive, positive, negative, that's going to be a negative. Then we have 4. We're going to plug in 4. That's going to be a positive. 4 minus 3 is a positive. 4 plus 3, also positive. All three are positive. We have another positive, okay? So I want to plug in negative 3, 3, and 0 to see what we're going to get into what we're going to get in our original function, because these are going to be my max and my mins, okay? So here we have a decreasing and then increasing interval. So we're going to have a minimum, and here we have, again, a decreasing and then increasing interval at 3, so we're going to have a min there, and then we have a max at 0, because we have increasing and then decreasing, okay? Well, 0, we already know it's 0, 0, so that one lines up nicely with our intercept there. Here, we're just going to plug in negative 3, okay? If you plug in negative 3, you will see that you will get, it's like negative 81 over 4, which is going to be just over negative 20 there, okay? So we're going pretty deep into our y-axis there. So our point is going to be negative 3 and negative 81 over 4. And if we similarly, if we plug in positive 3, we're going to get negative, we're going to get negative 81 over 4. Yep, it's still negative, yep. Okay, cool. So what does this mean here? Because our max here is actually the same as our x-intercept, what's going to happen is that it's not going to look exactly like this. It's going to be something, this max here is actually probably going to touch right at our origin. So because we only have 3 x-intercepts here, right? But here we have 4. So the only way we're going to get 3 is if one of these max or mins touch right at one of those intercepts, and it looks like they do, because this is a max here at 0, and we know that that's an x-intercept as well. So that makes sense with our intercepts that we got here. In order to get the concavity now, we need to find the second derivative. So I'm going to do the second derivative down here. That's going to be y double prime. I'm going to use this form here. Okay, we're going to bring the 3 down using our power rule. We're going to have 3x squared minus 9. Okay, setting that equal to 0. I'm going to take out the 3, and we're going to have x squared minus 3. And then here we have x minus root 3 and x plus root 3. Drawing my number line out here, I have negative root 3, positive root 3, and I want these intervals here. Root 3, if you do that in your calculator really quickly, what do we got here? 1.7. Okay, so we have negative 1.7, so we're going to plug in negative 2 into our function here. Plugging in negative 2, what are we going to have? Well, this is negative 2 minus something that's going to be a negative. Negative 2 plus 1.7, that's also going to be a negative. A negative times a negative, we're going to have positive. Okay? Plugging in 0, well, we have, if we plug in 0, looking at this equation, we're going to have negative, right? Because the 3x squared is going to disappear, we're just left with negative 9, so that's going to be negative. And then if we have, what is this? We're going to plug in 2, right? Well, if we have 2, we can plug that into this equation again. So we're going to have 3 times 4, which is going to be 12, minus 9, that's going to be positive, right? Positive. Okay, cool. Last thing we need to look at here is limits. So we have the limits as x approaches positive infinity and the limit as x approaches negative infinity of our function. Plugging in infinity here, we see that this x to the 4, it's going to dominate this one, okay? So what's going to happen is it's just going to go towards positive infinity. And then here, once again, negative infinity to the power of 4 is going to be positive. It's going to dominate this one, so we're going to go to positive infinity, both on the left and on the right. So now we have all the tools that we need in order to graph. So we're going to go ahead and try and graph it. Remembering over here from our intervals of increase decrease, right? So our max mins are going to be, they're going to go down to like -20. So we have to kind of draw this at a weird scale. So I'm going to put my -20 over here. I'm going to put my +20 all the way at the top of my graph here. And then I'm going to put my point at the origin here, right? And then we have these points at -3 root 2 and +3 root 2. So I'm just going to plug that into my calculator really quickly. 3 root 2 to see. So we have 4.24. So I'm going to put those values. I'm going to put 1 over here. I'm going to put 1 over here. And I know that halfway between these, I'm going to have to hit this min down here. Okay, so the graph is going to look something like this. It's going to come down from here, going to hit through this point. It's going to hit down here, just under the 20 there. This is my max here at the origin. We're going to come back down and hit that same point, and then we're going to come up and go towards positive infinity. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. 3 intercepts, the max here that we got, everything pretty much lines up. Okay, that should be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one.